Good morning, everyone. Very warm welcome to this side event on operationalizing the Mine Action Development Nexus and looking at a very interesting project, which is the Korea-Vietnam Peace Village project and lessons learned. So this is a really interesting session because we've talked a lot, I think, in various editions of NDM on the link between mine action and development, but how does it really work in practice? How do you integrate mine action and development in a very deliberate way? This is really what the side event will show you. And we're very happy to collaborate with this event with the Republic, with Vietnam, the government of Vietnam, as well as GICHD and UNDP. So a warm welcome to everyone. We would like to first invite our opening speaker, who's His Excellency Ambassador Dung, of the government of Vietnam at the permanent mission in Geneva to give us, so please, opening remarks.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I think that you can hear me yet. So, Excellency, distinguished delegates and ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and pleasure for me to join this side event on the 29th International Meeting of Mine Action National Directors and United Nations Advisors. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Geneva International Center for Humanitarian Demining, the United Nations Development Program in Vietnam, and the Vietnam National Mine Action Center for organizing this important discussion and for their continued support to Vietnam's mine action efforts. For Vietnam, the legacy of landmines and explosive remnant of war remains a significant and long-term challenge. Decades after the war, unexploded ordnance continued to affect the safety of communities, limit access to productive land, and constrain socio-economic development, particularly in rural and remote areas. However, our experience has clearly demonstrated that mine action is not only an humanitarian necessity, but also a fundamental enabler for sustainable development. Safe land is the foundation upon which livelihoods, infrastructure, education, healthcare, and environmental protection can be built. Recognizing this, the government of Vietnam has pursued a comprehensive and long-term approach through the National Mine Action Program 504, 2010-2025, and is now advancing a new program for the period 2026-2045. This approach emphasizes strong national ownership, effective institutional coordination led by VNMAC, and importantly, the integration of mine action into national and local development planning. In practice, this means that land clearance is closely aligned with community needs and development priorities, ensuring that cleared land is immediately used for productive and sustainable purposes. In this regard, the Korea-Vietnam Peace Village project, funded by the Republic of Korea government through the Korea International Cooperation Agency, provides a concrete and compelling example. The recent assessment conducted by the GICHD on the contribution of mine action to the SDGs in Vietnam through this project highlights how integrated mine action intervention, combining survey and clearance, risk education, victim assistance, and rural development investments, have contributed to tangible progress across multiple sustainable development goals, including poverty reduction, livelihoods, health, education, and climate resilience. Equally important, our experience underscores the value of a people-centered approach, ensuring the meaningful participation of women, persons with disabilities, and survivors of landmines and explosive ordnance. This inclusiveness strengthens both the effectiveness and sustainability of our efforts. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the key lesson from Vietnam is clear. The mine action should not be viewed in isolation, but as a strategic investment in sustainable development. When supported by strong governance, data-driven prioritization, and effective partnership among national authorities, local communities, and international partners, my action can generate lasting socio-economic impact and contribute to resilience and peace. In this context, Vietnam highly values the support of international partners, including the government of the Republic of Korea, and as well as the COICA, UNDP, and other organizations, whose cooperation has been instrumental in advancing our national efforts. Looking ahead, Vietnam remains committed to strengthening international cooperation, sharing lessons learned, and contributing actively to global discussion on my actions. We believe that platforms such as the NDM UN play an essential role in fostering knowledge exchange and collective progress among my affected countries and partners. In closing, I'd like to reaffirm Vietnam's strong commitment to addressing the legacy of war and to building safe, resilient, and sustainable communities for all. I wish this side event every success. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Zong, for providing this opening remark and for reminding us of the importance of investing in mine action for sustainable development. We will now move to our panel. So let me just quickly introduce our different panel members that you have in front of you today. So from GICHD, we have Alice Spatsian, who's a program officer and a lead author of the KVPVP study that GICHD undertook, and we'll share some of the findings. We have then from Vietnam, Mr. Ha, Senior Colonel of the Engineer Corps of Vietnam, who will talk more in detail about the project, the KVPVP, so from a national perspective. And we will then hear from Dr. Quan from UNDP, he's the Chief Technical Advisor in Mine Action in Vietnam, UNDP Vietnam. And he will talk to us from the UNDP perspective, since UNDP was the main implementer of this project, the KVPVP project. And finally, we're also very pleased to welcome Mrs. Wu, who's a political attaché at the mission of the Republic of Korea in Geneva, and also very experienced in terms of COICA. I think you worked for COICA as well, and who will give us the donor perspective. So a very, very rich panel. And we will start with Alice Spatsian. Alice, can you please walk us through some of the main findings of the study that GICHD has undertaken, both through several field research as well as desk study as well?
Thank you so much, Greta, and good morning, everyone. As Greta mentioned, I will walk you today through some of the main results from the KVPVP study and some recommendations. So, as mentioned, throughout 2025, the GCHD conducted a study to look at the Korean-Vietnam Peace Village project. This is part of our case studies, which look at the SDGs as an analytical framework from 2017. We also conducted these studies in partnership with UNDP. So what is different from the other case studies is that we don't focus on the national context that much. We don't look at the whole national mine action system in a country, but we chose a specific project because it's integrate mine action and development outcomes since the beginning. So in particular, KVPVP sequence mine action with 3 types of development interventions, which are climate resilient houses, commune health stations, and climate resilient agriculture. So the Kiwi PVP is implemented in three main provinces, Jailai, Quang Ngai, and Hue. And in these provinces, of course, EO contamination is first and foremost a threat to the life and the safety of the local population. But we also see that it constrains investments and local economic activities, and it has a disproportionate effect on rural communities, especially ethnic minorities, and is compounded by exposure to climate change. So mine action in this condition create the safe precondition for developments, but the development outcomes are not automatic. As any other case studies, we try to measure the impact of mine action in terms of SDGs to find a common language to express the broader outcomes. And so in this case, we see Kiwi PVP enable a contribution towards 16 SDGs and several, around 69 of their targets. I don't have much time to go into all the details, but I would like to highlight the issue of coordination. Coordination stands out as a central enabler for integration of mine action and development. In the study, we look at coordination from three different perspectives, actually four. Policy coherence, which is how mine action is integrated with different sectors, for example, housing, agriculture, health. So it's horizontal policy coherence, but also at the vertical level, how mine action was coordinated from the national level to the provincial and commune levels. And then we look at national ownership, which is the creation in collaboration with UNDP of different governance structures that enable the translation of national priorities together with development priorities at different levels. Dr. Kwan is going to talk more about it, but I just want to mention it's an incredible element of the project, and one we believe it really makes the project different from others. And then, of course, financing, right? We all know that sometimes the integration is difficult because financing is short-term. It doesn't allow us to look at the longer outcomes. In this case, thanks to multi-year and flexible funding, it was possible to have this kind of sequencing and integration. We also look at some factors that could be replicated in other countries. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to go through all of them, but I wish another discussion could happen when the public will be studied, when the study will be published, sorry. So we look at three different factors: enabling environment, frameworks and processes to support coordination, as well as dedicated resources, expert advice, and support. And finally, we conclude with some recommendation. I already mentioned the importance of integrated development programming and policy frameworks. I also mentioned the presence of coordination mechanism both between sectors and also a multi-level of governance, and the importance of national and local ownership. What I didn't mention yet is the issue of prioritization and data. So what we look at is also how development priorities are translated into prioritization framework for mine action. So the importance of not only have clearance measurement into prioritization, but also different type of factors that the Kiwi PVP is looking at for prioritization. So very short, but that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alice, for this succinct presentation, but which really showed, I think, highlights some of the main ingredients for success. You talked about the importance of coordination, showing us how the study, the study really highlighted the importance of policy coherence, national ownership, and also you mentioned this multi-year flexible funding, which was really key for success for this study. So thank you very much, and hopefully we'll have a bit more time in the Q&A. Let me now turn to Senior Colonel Ha, who's been really instrumental for this KVPVP project. So Senior Colonel, you will talk to us about the project and the main lessons. You will speak in Vietnamese, and then we will have translation in English, consecutive translation done in the room. So it's in the room, it's not through the headphones, so please bear with us. Senior Colonel, please go ahead.
Xin cảm ơn bà Greta. Kính thưa quý vị, Sau đây tôi xin được trình bày giới thiệu về dự án và kinh nghiệm từ dự án hành động mìn vì làng quốc tế hòa bình Việt Nam Hàn Quốc, viết tắt là KBPPP. Nội dung giới thiệu của chúng tôi gồm 3 phần.
First, thanks, Ms. Greta. So after this, we're going to give you a brief about the lesson learned from the KVPB project and also the post-war UXO mine remediation efforts of Vietnam. As our presentations have 3 main content.
Một là thực trạng ô nhiễm bom mìn ở Việt Nam. 2 là một số kết quả chính của dự án. 3 là bài học kinh nghiệm.
First is current situations of contamination in Vietnam. Second is key result of KVPP project. And last is a lesson learned from the project.
Trước hết, tôi thông tin về cái thực trạng ô nhiễm bom mìn ở Việt Nam. Sau chiến tranh, ở Việt Nam còn 6,1 triệu hecta bị ô nhiễm bom mìn vật nổ, chiếm 18,71% diện tích toàn quốc. Tất cả các thành phố ở Việt Nam đều bị ô nhiễm, trong đó khu vực bị ô nhiễm nhiều nhất là ở miền Trung và Tây Nguyên. Ước tính còn khoảng 800.000 bom mìn còn tồn sót lại sau chiến tranh. Khoảng 100.000 nạn nhân bom mìn, trong đó có 40.000 người bị chết và 60.000 người bị thương.
So after the national survey conducted in March 2018, Vietnam have 6.1 million hectares of suspect hazardous area, in total of 18.71 of national territory, and also contaminations recorded in all provinces and cities, and mostly focused in the central regions and central highland. And approximately there are still more than 800,000 tons of UXO remain in our territory, and more than 100,000 casualties, in which 40,000 is killed and 60,000 is injured.
Tính đến tháng 12 năm 2025, diện tích còn ô nhiễm còn lại khoảng 5,57 triệu hecta, tương đương với 557.000 km vuông, tương đương với 17,61% diện tích toàn quốc.
So by December 2025, the SHA of Vietnam reduced to 5.57 million hectares, in total of 17.61% our territory land.
Tiếp theo, tôi xin chia sẻ về cái kết quả thực hiện dự án. Như tôi vừa nêu, đây là dự án chúng tôi đã và đang triển khai rất có hiệu quả.
So after this, I give you a brief overview of the KVPP project.
Mục tiêu của dự án là cải thiện an ninh con người cho cộng đồng ở các khu vực mục tiêu gồm 3 tỉnh Gia Lai, Quảng Ngãi và thành phố Huế, tăng cường phát triển nông thôn bền vững thông qua tăng cường sinh kế bền vững và xây dựng cơ sở hạ tầng cho các cộng đồng khu vực mục tiêu. Kết cấu gồm 2 hợp phần: hành động mìn và phát triển nông thôn bền vững thích ứng với biến đổi khí hậu.
So our objective first is to improve human security for communities in targeted areas like Gia Lai, Quảng Ngãi, and Huế. Also to promote sustainable rural development through strengthen livelihood and develop in target area. And so structure, we have 2 components. First is about enhance human security. Second is to develop the sustainable rural development.
Về kết quả đạt được đối với hợp phần 1, hành động mìn. 1 là nâng cao năng lực, hỗ trợ xây dựng, hoàn thiện khung pháp lý TCVN, QCVN, cũng như là ban hành pháp lệnh về khắc phục hậu quả bom mìn sau chiến tranh.
First is about capacity building. We develop and revise the Vietnam standard and also update Vietnam regulations and to support drafting the ordinance. And last is strengthen national mine action legal framework.
Tập huấn tiền triển khai dự án cho 420 người thuộc các lực lượng khảo sát kỹ thuật và rà phá bom mìn theo tiêu chuẩn IMAT.
So we conduct a pre-deployment training for more than 400 personnel aligned with IMAS.
Tập huấn nâng cao năng lực công tác quản lý thông tin, dữ liệu ở cấp quốc gia và cấp tỉnh cho 200 người.
and also the information management training for more than 200 personnel.
Tập huấn cho 665 giảng viên trong quản lý và thực hiện hoạt động giáo dục phòng tránh tai nạn bom mìn và các rủi ro khác.
Also, training for more than 600 educators in EORE.
Tập huấn về gắn kết hoạt động khắc phục hậu quả bom mìn vào các mục tiêu phát triển bền vững đối với các đơn vị thực hiện dự án.
A training on integrate my actions and SDG for project implementing partners.
Tập huấn cho 800 cán bộ và cộng tác viên xã hội về hỗ trợ nạn nhân bom mìn.
Train more than 800 officers and also volunteer in EO victim.
Đánh giá chung về cái nội dung 1 là năng lực trong lĩnh vực khắc phục hậu quả bom mìn đã được tăng cường rõ rệt. Các tiêu chuẩn hành động bom mìn quốc gia và quốc tế, hệ thống chỉ số đánh giá hiệu quả KPI cùng các quy trình chuyên môn đã được VNMAC và các bên tham gia dự án xây dựng áp dụng hiệu quả, tạo nền tảng vững chắc để duy trì kết quả sau khi kết thúc dự án.
So we have an overall assessment. The capacity in my action significantly strengthened. National and international my action standard effectively applied, and KPI system developed and implemented, led by VNMAC and project stakeholder, and established a solid foundation for sustaining result beyond project completion.
2 là kết quả khảo sát rà phá bom mìn. Hoàn thành khảo sát kỹ thuật hơn 11.000 trên 15.000 hecta, giải phóng đất được hơn 10.000 hecta, thu gom xử lý an toàn 12.517 bom mìn vật nổ các loại.
So the result of survey and clearance, we have survey to more than 11,000 hectares, in total 15,000 hectares, and we released more than 10,000 of hectares, and also found, recover, and destroy more than 12,000 items.
3. Tuyên truyền và giáo dục phòng tránh tai nạn bom mìn, xây dựng và phát hành 8.813 tài liệu truyền thông, tổ chức giáo dục phòng tránh tai nạn bom mìn cho hơn 300.000 trẻ em trai, trẻ em gái, phụ nữ, nông dân tại các khu vực mục tiêu.
Next is about EORE. So we have developed and published more than 8,000 of communications material, and also reaching to more than 300 boys, girls, women, and farmers.
4. Hỗ trợ nạn nhân bom mìn. Đã hỗ trợ được cho hơn 1.000 nạn nhân bom mìn về phục hồi chức năng và sinh kế.
Next is about victim assistance. We have support more than 1,000 of EO victims, and also assist livelihood for income generation.
Về kết quả hợp phần 2, 1 là hỗ trợ giống cây trồng, phân bón cho hơn 2.000 nông dân.
The result of the next component is we support more than 2,000 farmers to provide seed, fertilizer.
2 là hỗ trợ 8 hợp tác xã với 200 hộ nông dân nhằm nâng cao năng lực cạnh tranh và khả năng tiếp cận thị trường.
Next is support 8 cooperative and 200 farming households to enhance competitiveness and market access.
3 là tập huấn cho 3.000 nông dân về sản xuất nông nghiệp thông minh, thích ứng biến đổi khí hậu.
So we train more than 3,000 farmers to strengthen resilient to climate change.
4 là hoàn thiện bàn giao 400 ngôi nhà chống lũ.
We built and handover more than 400 climate resilient houses.
5 là xây dựng 7 trạm y tế thích ứng biến đổi khí hậu.
7 climate resilient community health stations.
Tóm lại, dự án đã góp phần thực hiện được 16 trên 17 mục tiêu phát triển bền vững, trừ mục tiêu số 14 vì dự án không triển khai ở trên môi trường biển.
So we have contributed to 16 in total of 17 of SDG. Only the 14 that we cannot contribute because we not conduct on sea.
Bài học kinh nghiệm rút ra từ thực hiện triển khai dự án. 1 là tầm quan trọng của việc tích hợp khắc phục hậu quả bom mìn với các mục tiêu phát triển bền vững. Giải phóng nguồn lực đất đai phục vụ phát triển kinh tế xã hội của địa phương.
First is a lesson learned from the KVPP project. First is the importance of integrating my actions with sustainable development to release land for local social-economic development.
Tăng cường an toàn cho người dân trong lao động sản xuất và phát triển kinh tế tại các khu vực nông thôn.
Enhance community safety for rural livelihood and economic activities.
Sử dụng nguồn lực quốc gia, địa phương và quốc tế một cách hợp lý, hiệu quả.
And promotes efficiency use of national, local, and international resources.
Hai là triển khai công tác giải phóng đất phù hợp với các kế hoạch phát triển kinh tế xã hội, gồm ưu tiên lựa chọn giải phóng đất tại các khu vực đã được quy hoạch để phát triển.
The second lesson is about land release operations aligned with socio-economic development plan. It's prioritize land release in areas already for development planning.
Căn cứ vào nguồn lực để cân đối giữa các mức độ rủi ro và nhu cầu phát triển kinh tế xã hội địa phương để xác định thứ tự ưu tiên giải phóng đất.
So in the context of limited resources, balancing the contamination risk level with local socio-economic development need when prioritizing the land release areas.
Ba là triển khai hiệu quả việc quản lý thông tin và điều phối các bên. Chất lượng dữ liệu chính xác giúp xác định khu vực ưu tiên phù hợp với quy hoạch phát triển kinh tế xã hội.
The third lesson is about the effective information management and stakeholder coordinations to accurate data quality and able to identifications of priority areas aligned with socio-economic development plan.
Chia sẻ dữ liệu, minh bạch hóa thông tin cho lập kế hoạch và triển khai.
Promote data sharing and information transparency for planning and implementations.
Thiết lập mối quan hệ chặt chẽ giữa các bộ ngành địa phương và tổ chức quốc tế.
Establish close coordinations among ministry, local authorities, and international organizations.
Giải phóng đất đi kèm với hỗ trợ phát triển sinh kế của người dân, làm tốt công tác quản lý chất lượng và khuyến khích sự tham gia của cộng đồng trong quản lý chất lượng.
Combine land release with development assistance and ensure effective quality management and encourage the community to contribute in the process.
Kết luận, bằng cách liên kết hoạt động rà phá bom mìn với hoạt động phát triển kinh tế xã hội bền vững, dự án đã giải quyết tình trạng ô nhiễm bom mìn vật nổ, triển khai hiệu quả công tác hỗ trợ nạn nhân và phát triển nông thôn bền vững, thích ứng biến đổi khí hậu ở 3 tỉnh Quảng Ngãi, Gia Lai và thành phố Huế.
So by linking my actions with sustainable social economic development activities, the project addressed comprehensively EO contaminations and providing victim assistance and also enhancing climate resilient sustainable development in Quảng Ngãi, Gia Lai and Huế.
Dự án đạt được hiệu quả thiết thực, đáp ứng nhu cầu cấp bách của các cộng đồng bị ảnh hưởng bởi bom mìn, phù hợp với ưu tiên của chính phủ Việt Nam và các nhà tài trợ như UNDP và COICA, trở thành mô hình hợp tác quốc tế tiêu biểu trong lĩnh vực khắc phục hậu quả bom mìn tại Việt Nam hiện nay.
So project developed a result responding urgent need of EO effective community and also align with the development priorities of Vietnam government and also donor like COICA and UNDP, and also become the model for international cooperations in addressing post-war consequences in Vietnam.
Thưa quý vị, trước khi kết thúc phần trình bày, tôi cung cấp một thông tin. Theo mục tiêu của chương trình quốc gia khắc phục hậu quả bom mìn sau chiến tranh, đến năm 2045, Việt Nam sẽ phấn đấu cơ bản hoàn thành việc giải phóng 5,57 triệu hecta đất bị ô nhiễm bom mìn vật nổ còn lại đến độ sâu 0,5 mét, góp phần phát triển kinh tế xã hội bền vững.
So before I end my presentations, I would like to share some information. Is under the objective of National Post-War Mine Action Program by 2045, Vietnam tried to basically complete the clearance of the remaining 5.57 million hectares of contaminations land to 0.5 meter depth.
Để đạt được mục tiêu đó, chúng tôi xác định nguồn lực trong nước là quyết định, còn hợp tác quốc tế và vận động tài trợ là rất quan trọng. Từ diễn đàn này, tôi trân trọng đề nghị các quốc gia và tổ chức quốc tế như Hoa Kỳ, Hàn Quốc, Nhật Bản, Anh, Đức và các quốc gia khác, cũng như các tổ chức quốc tế GIT, UNDP, UNMAC, COICA, JICA, v.v. tiếp tục quan tâm, hợp tác và hỗ trợ Việt Nam hoàn thành mục tiêu lớn lao này. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn.
So to achieve this objective, we consider domestic resource is the major resource, while international cooperations and donor support remain the critical important. So from this forum, I call upon partner countries and international organizations, including the US, Republic of Korea, Japan, United Kingdom, Germany, and others, as well as NGOs like GICHD, UNDP, UNMAS, COICA, and JICA, to continue their cooperations and support for Vietnam to achieve this important goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senior Colonel Ha, for this very, very interesting presentation. I think you really showed us the challenges of having over 17% of your territory contaminated, but still have the strong goal of being mine-free by 2045. I think that is really an excellent news that you're really pursuing this, and of course putting your national resources into this comprehensive approach, as well as support from international partners. And us as GICHD, we're really delighted to be able to contribute to work with you for this successful endeavor. Let me now turn to a very important international partner, UNDP. Dr. Kwan, can you tell us more about UNDP's role in this project and how you really saw this multi-partner approach and multi-sector approach really work for the KIVI-PVP project?
Thank you, Greta. I just share practical lessons learned from the Mine Action and Development Nexus, particularly how this multi-layer coordination can move from theory into practice. This is a generic some governance structure from policy implementation and field level. This governance structure moderately reflect the development and the Mine Action Nexus. But in each stage, we realize that mine action actor and development actor operate in parallel rather than in integration. This is where some gap between theory and practice begins. Okay, this is the image that AI generated. The mine action actor is really straightforward and mission mandated, and then release outcome. But development actor is a very complicated planning process and the coordination with the different actors. So this is actually initial stage, the mine action actor living in Mars, and the development actor live in Venus. And UNDP is navigating between these two actors getting together. So how did we break down these silos? So UNDP supported the joint field assessment to land the prioritization. So UNDP, COICA, and the VMAC conducted the joint field assessment, participated by each different provincial authorities and the commune authority. Also, the VMAC dislike changes. Once they fix their planning, they actually maintain this plan goals as planned. But provincial authority, sometimes they change their plan and change the location for the rural development. So as the provincial authority require their change, we encourage VMAC to engage directly this provincial authority to conduct kind of field feasibility studies. The second, we actually brought stakeholders together in multi-layer, the structure of the governance and joint project coordination committee in the policy setting and joint project management unit meeting. But more importantly, we conducted a quarterly inspection visit to provinces. We organized the on-site, the coordination meeting between VMAG and their project site command and the provincial project management unit. The thirdly, thankfully to GICHD, actually facilitated the Mine Action SDG workshop in 2025. So all the stakeholders actually got together in this workshop to openly address the challenge and the coordination matter and also random prioritization. Then finally, we succeeded in making some coordination agreement signed by VMAG and 3 provincial authorities. It nearly took 2 years to get to this coordination agreement. So the VMAG and provincial authorities now spoke with one voice. They used to ultimate goal is same, but they speak different language. But now they spoke with one voice in the advocating mine action and sustainable development and making some concerted efforts to bring them to realization. So as Senior Konoha presented, now is VMAG has become a strong advocate integrating mine action and development. But still, challenge remains. We have 4 different actors, VMAG and 3 provincial authorities, which are very self-autonomous. So still some implementation structure is fragmented with 4 different actors. It's really difficult to synchronize one single the planning. But this coordinate structure overcome some extent of these silos. The streamlining of information sharing is really improved, but still uneven information sharing occurs sometimes in the field. And sequencing rural development initiative in mine action operation is coherent and stretching manner is a theory, but provincial authorities, they sometimes change their plan. So it's a quite responsive approach from the VMAG is still a very somewhat challenging. Finally, the GICHD also midterm review strongly recommend that we need to institutionalize some post-clear impact survey to substantiate the mine action outcome into the development. So we are working on designing a very comprehensive post-clearance impact survey, and we're actually working together with the VMAG and 3 provincial authorities. So this is the image that we actually move forward as a VMAG and 3 provincial authorities that share the framework and streamline the information sharing, and also move this this program from the theory into practice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwan. I think you really walk us through the challenges of government structures, of breaking down silos, and how long it takes really for 2 parts of the government, the mine action sector and the rural development sectors, to really come to an understanding, to speak with one voice, as you were saying. So really interesting to share those insights. Thank you very much. And I think what we've heard also as a subtext throughout those presentations is that all this work also requires very strong donor commitment, and not just like a one-off project. This is really a multi-year, flexible approach which is needed. And I think with KOICA, we have seen such a commitment. Of course, KOICA is used to working on the Nexus approach, not just on mine action, but also humanitarian and development. I think this is something that KOICA has been championing at least for over 10 years. So we're really delighted to have you, Mrs. Wu, from the Permanent Mission of Korea to really tell us about your perspective on how do you support this integrated approach between mine action and sustainable development.
Thank you. And Excellencies and distinguished guests and colleagues, and thank you for insightful presentations from GICHD and VNMAG and UNDP. Yeah. The presentations have clearly demonstrated how the mine action development nexus can be translated into practice through coordination, sequencing, and multi-sector engagement. From KOICA's perspective, I'd like to highlight 3 policy reflections grounded in the experience of Government of Republic of Korea and KOICA. First, the mine action development nexus is not a new concept, but one informed by accumulated field experience. For more than a decade, KOICA has supported mine action efforts in Mekong region, while also exploring ways to link these efforts with broader development interventions, including support for affected communities. This reflects our understanding that mine action should not end with clearance, but should contribute to sustainable development outcomes. In this regard, the Republic of Korea's own experience from post-war recovery to development also informs this approach, where restoring safety and rebuilding livelihoods has been closely connected. Building on these experiences, the government of Republic of Korea elevated this approach into regional cooperation agenda through the 2019 Republic of Korea Mekong Summit, which has been further operationalized through KOICA's Mekong Peace Community Program. Second, from a policy perspective, a key priority is to embed mine action within national development systems. As highlighted in today's presentations, coordination is a central enabler of this nexus. Through KVPVP, we have seen that aligning mine action with national and the provincial development planning allows clearly land to be utilized for housing, health services, and climate-resilient livelihoods. This demonstrates how mine action can move beyond a standalone intervention and contribute to broader development processes. In particular, coordination across institutions and administrative levels plays a critical role in operationalizing this integrated approach in practice. Third, strengthening evidence-based approach is essential to further advancing this nexus. The GICHD analysis presented today provides us useful insights into how mine action can contribute to a sustainable development outcomes, particularly when viewed through the SDG framework. Such analytical work helps support more informed policy discussions and decision-making. At the same time, as noted in the presentations, challenges remain. This includes the complexity of multi-sector coordination, the need for more effective information sharing, and the importance of better understanding the development impact of land release. Addressing these challenges will be important for strengthening integrated approaches going forward. In this context, KVPVP demonstrates that linking mine action and development is both feasible and meaningful when supported by strong coordination, policy alignment, and partnerships. KOICA will continue to work closely with partners, including VNMAG, UNDP, and GICHD in this regard. Lastly, the value of this nexus lies on its potential to link safety, development, and resilience in a more coherent and sustainable way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hu, for also being here with us today and sharing those insights from the government of Korea. Very, very useful. Well, we have now heard from all our panelists, and I think this really gives us a good overview of the KVPVP project and how this really requires a deliberate approach to link man action to development. So we wanted to make sure there was enough time for questions. So please think of a question you may have for our panel. I also want to mention that we have quite a few participants online from Vietnam who are following the discussion, including the COICA office in Vietnam, as well as Vienmac and other actors. So we're very, very pleased to have these colleagues online with us as well. Let me see if anyone would like to ask a question. Please raise your hand. While you're thinking of a question, let me maybe just ask Mr. Senior Colonel Ha a question that I have. So we've now heard so much about Vietnam, right, and about this specific project. And is there anything you could share for others who may think of actually implementing a similar project in another country? What is really important for them to think about? Something you wish you would have known and thought about from the beginning for your project? Please go ahead if you can tell us.
Tôi cho rằng nếu một quốc gia khác muốn áp dụng cái mô hình mà chúng tôi đang triển khai thì điều quan trọng nhất không phải là cái việc sao chép mô hình mà ở việc là hiểu rõ bối cảnh của chính mình và thiết kế chương trình dự án phù hợp, có tính khả thi và hiệu quả. Dưới đây là 4 yếu tố cốt lõi mà một quốc gia cần cân nhắc ngay từ khi đặt bút lập dự án và đảm bảo sự thành công bền vững.
So I believe that even other countries wish to apply this approach. The most important factor is not copying a model, but rather understanding its own national context and designing program and project that are appropriate from the very outset. And based on Vietnam experience, we could highlight 4 core considerations that should be taken in account at project design stage.
Một là cách tiếp cận tích cực, tích hợp đa mục tiêu thay vì đơn lẻ. Mô hình Việt Nam thành công nhờ sự gắn kết chặt chẽ giữa an toàn, đó là công tác rà phá bom mìn vật nổ để giải phóng quỹ đất, an sinh để hỗ trợ nạn nhân bom mìn và người khuyết tật, sinh kế để tạo điều kiện cho người dân phát triển kinh tế trên mảnh đất đã được làm sạch. Bài học: nếu bạn làm sạch đất mà không hướng dẫn nhân dân canh tác hoặc hỗ trợ y tế mà không có môi trường sống an toàn, dự án sẽ chỉ dừng lại ở mức cứu trợ chứ không phải phát triển.
So first is the multi-objective approach. Vietnam model has been successful because we linking many objectives into. First is safety through the clearance of landmine and explosive remnant of war to release safe land. Second is social inclusion to support the victim and also disability. And next one is the sustainable livelihood to provide the people with the economic activity on land that can be clear. And also the key lessons of this is if land is clear without supporting communities to use it productively, of its health and social assistance it provides while people continue to live in unsafe environment, it will just remain at level of humanitarian relief rather than achieve sustainable development.
Tóm lại những điều trên tôi muốn nói, tức là rà phá bom mìn mới chỉ là bước đầu. Quan trọng là sau rà phá bom mìn tạo điều kiện kiến tạo cho người dân, cộng đồng được phát triển bền vững, đúng như ý của bà đại sứ Hàn Quốc. Hay là không phải hành động mìn là ở trên sao Hỏa mà phát triển kinh tế ở sao Kim như của ông Won đã nói.
So first, I believe the project is just the first step. The second step is to hand over and release the safe land to the people, and it's not it's different than I think the mean of Mr. Won said that we develop on March and we support on Venice.
Hai là sự cam kết từ cấp lãnh đạo và đồng thuận của cộng đồng địa phương. Những mô hình chương trình kiểu này thường liên quan đến nhiều cấp, nhiều ngành, nên nếu không có sự ủng hộ mạnh mẽ và nhất quán từ trên xuống, rất dễ bị gián đoạn hoặc thực hiện thiếu hiệu quả. Tuy nhiên, mô hình này không thể thành công nếu chỉ có mệnh lệnh từ cấp lãnh đạo, từ trên xuống. Cho nên quốc gia đó cần cân nhắc phải có sự tham gia của các cộng đồng địa phương. Người dân phải là chủ thể, họ cần được tham gia, tham vấn về nhu cầu thực tế của mình. Sự minh bạch trong hợp tác quốc tế, việc thiết lập mối quan hệ tin cậy giữa chính phủ với các tổ chức quốc tế như COICA, như UNDP là chìa khóa để khơi thông nguồn lực tài chính và kỹ thuật.
So the second core considerations is to strong national leadership commitment combined with community ownership. The program of this natural cross-sectoral, involving multiple ministry, agencies, and level of government, and strong and consistent commitment from senior leadership. And to ensure the coherent and effective coordinations and continues over time. So at the same time, success cannot be achieved through top-down approach alone. Effective community must be actively engaged as partner and consulted on their real needs and priority. And in parallel, transparent and trust-based cooperations with international partners, including UN agencies and development partners, is critical for us.
3 là hệ thống quản lý thông tin. Để quản lý một dự án phức tạp trên diện rộng, quốc gia đó cần đầu tư vào hệ thống quản lý ngay từ đầu. Chúng ta phải có bản đồ hóa, số hóa các khu vực ô nhiễm bom mìn và phải thường xuyên được cập nhật. Tiếp theo là ta phải quản lý nạn nhân, theo dõi tình trạng sức khỏe và nhu cầu sinh kế của từng hộ gia đình qua các nền tảng số. Đo lường tác động là phải có các chỉ số cụ thể để chứng minh hiệu quả với các nhà tài trợ và nhân dân. Việc thiết lập các chỉ số đo lường ngay từ đầu là rất quan trọng.
So next core considerations is the data management and digital transformations. So managing large-scale and complex programs require early investment in information management system, including digital mapping of contaminated and cleared areas. Second is comprehensive data on victim and survivor, covering health, rehabilitations, and livelihood needs. Next is clear impact indicator to measure result, ensure accountability. And last is experience show that program ground in data and are more transparent and more adaptive and more sustainable over long term.
4 là nguồn lực con người. Một yếu tố then chốt khác là nguồn lực con người, không chỉ là số lượng mà là chất lượng. Đội ngũ thực hiện cần phải được đào tạo bài bản, hiểu rõ phương pháp và có khả năng thích ứng với thực tiễn của địa phương. Đây thường là điểm quyết định thành bại của thực hiện dự án.
And last but not least is human capacity and resources. Human resources remain an important factor. Success depend on only staffing, but not only on adequate staffing, but on well-trained professionals who understand the approach and can adapt international standards to local socio-economic development plans, and also investing in national capacity is therefore essential for long-term and national ownership.
Thưa quý vị, mỗi quốc gia có các bối cảnh khác nhau. Việc áp dụng các mô hình, ví dụ như mô hình chúng tôi đã làm rất có hiệu quả vào cái điều kiện cụ thể thì của mỗi nước, thì đề nghị mỗi quốc gia căn cứ vào bối cảnh cụ thể để xác định cái việc kế hoạch triển khai thực hiện các dự án cho phù hợp, thì như vậy mới có hiệu quả. Chúng ta cũng không nên sao chép nguyên bản. Xin hết.
So to conclude that I believe each countries have different context. So to apply the approach, we should not copy the model from us. Maybe just we need to base on their own context and also implementing the approach that are appropriate with the national reality and with people at the center. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senior Colonel Hao. I think you mentioned that this can't be copied to other contexts as such, but at the same time, I think what this has really shown is what it takes in terms of getting national ownership. You know, the senior level commitment, you highlighted the importance of coordinating across ministries, of having really very capable staff who do capacity building, all the information management and evidence that you have built, as well as not forgetting that it's not a top-down approach, as you were saying, the importance of communities themselves, of ensuring that they can participate fully in the process and getting this balance right. So even if we can't really apply it just as such, it is really an inspiration, I would say, for other contexts as well. So thank you very much. We have maybe time for one last question. So turning again to you, participants, in case there is anyone who would like to ask a question. If not, oh yes, let me turn to you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Greta. Hi, panelists. Thank you so much for your presentations. My name's Fenya Liu from the GICHD. I wanted to take this opportunity to ask one last question of the panel. I think for a while now, the sector's been aware of the importance of mine action for ensuring sustainable development outcomes, but it's quite rare to see a model like this happen, an integrated model where we're actually looking at sustainable development outcomes as one of the main objectives of a particular project. So I thought I would just ask the panel what you thought was the most important factor to get a project like this off the ground. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Svenja. And let me turn maybe to Dr. Kwan to answer this question. Since UNDP, you have also had a chance to work in you work in so many different contexts. And what was really the ingredient for success to get this project off the ground?
Well, every actors should ensure them share the framework. For example, in this project, the donors' engagement in initial stage was quite important. So actually, the previous phase is we actually conducted a typical mine action project. But the second stage, actually, the Korean the donors are strongly engaged in designing process, how the mine action can interlink with the development, and also, as I mentioned, some coordination framework is quite painful process and really a struggling process, but really rewarding to every actor sit in the same table and voice out with the same voice. So each actor has a different mission and different the goal, but I think this shared framework and shared understanding is most important factor on the ground to implement this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wu. Dr. Kwan, Mrs. Wu, did you want to add anything on this?
I think his answer is enough.
Okay, excellent. Well, let me then take the opportunity to thank everyone for joining the side events. Your Excellency, Ambassador Zhong, thank you very much for